GG 小 hero， 谁还记得？
GG！ 恭喜这次4比3，飞龙在天。
哎，算了，恭喜他夺冠吧。
一把，我靠！
打不过啊，他最后这手感染虫太凶了。最近半年 ZVP 56-3，给自己点一个赞。 冠军
I don't think Cyril has any chance to save this one, but he continues.
He gets killed coming back, and Bunny just doesn't seem to have the numbers.
Didn't even notice the Liberator in the main base, I think. So many probes are going down right now.
Oh my god, they're trying to get back, but they can't, and so many are picked up. A big clump here from Cure. He tries to split everything up.
Giant force of Failings roll. Clearing the hell, that's massive. Clum!
Hero is once again has done it.
Cyril did it all, and he is a well-deserving champion.
And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another day of the Masters Coliseum 8 playoffs, day number 3. I'm of course your VIP. With me, I'm joined by these amazing players, by the people in the chat, by my plushies as well. Welcome one and all to the 3rd day of the playoffs. Welcome to Elimination Day. Here we go. We have had some plethora of players facing off, advancing on into the further stages of the tournament, but now we have the elimination round here as Astrea, Spirit, Zoun, and GuMiho all lost their rounds, all lost their matches in the upper bracket, and they've been knocked down to the lower bracket instead. We have 4 players playing here tonight, and 2 of them will be knocked out of the tournament, out of Masters Coliseum. Boy, here we go. We have 2 TVPs here tonight. It's going to be a TVP between Astrea and Spirit. Likewise, TVP between Zoun and GuMiho. Both these matches are going to be best of 5s. And we're here to find out the first players out of the tournament, out of Masters Coliseum. Here we go. And honestly, this is going to be a hard one to call. A big factor, of course, coming into our first round is the time zone. Astrea, of course, he is in the Americas. It is very early in the Americas as well, so he has to, of course, work and fight against his sleep to face off against Spirit. Likewise, Spirit himself has been looking insane, specifically in this matchup in the TVP. Did fall to Hero earlier, that is true, but here against Astrea, I'm sure he's looking to reprise his role. We can see that match history between these 2 players. Spirit having a winning record. Oh my god, almost a complete winning record here against Astrea. I'm a little bit in shock. That's crazy. Astrea with the 2-0, with the 3-1, with the 2-1, with the 1-1, and with the 2-1 scoreline as well. Very impressive historical record here by Spirit, but it's all about the here, it's all about the now here between these 2. Again, we're on a new patch, we're on a new map pool as well. I want to believe that we can have a back and forth, that we can have a competitive series. I do want to believe. Oh boy. I have to make sure I have everything set up and everything ready to go. Likewise, again, it's only going to be the 2 matches here tonight. And of course, Masters Coliseum is going to be returning next week and the week after that to conclude the event, to go through the remaining matches here and to crown our Masters Coliseum champion. Oh boy. Oh boy. We have the rest of January for that. Likewise, we were, of course, live earlier today with the Thermal 2v2 tournament. Way back. I was able to get some sleep. I got some sleep. I can confirm. I was able to get some rest before jumping in. Thankfully. So we're well rested. We're good to go. Tomorrow, of course, we're going to be going over the OSC Challenger bracket as well in the morning. And oh, we have our players. And we're smudging a little bit. Oh my god, again, bright and early in the morning here. Let's go. We have our Protoss contender here. He's with us. Oh, you have a video.
Hello, this is Astrea. My feelings about the new StarCraft 2 patch is that I like it overall. I'm quite happy about energy recharge in particular, and I think just the fact that the meta is slightly different and Protoss has some new interesting tools is quite nice. And balance-wise, overall, I don't think it's really changed too much, but there's a few nice changes for Protoss balance-wise, like the Tempest change. And even though battery overcharge is removed, energy recharge is pretty good. So yeah, I don't know. I like the patch overall. My performance in the group stage, I wasn't really expecting to do that well actually, because yeah, the matches are at 4 or 5 a.m. for me, so it can be pretty rough to feel awake while I'm playing. And also my hands, it's pretty cold at 4 or 5 a.m. even in San Diego in my room, so my hands were feeling a bit cold. I don't think I was playing as fast as I could have either, so I was actually very surprised at how well it went. And I was also very happy with my late game versus Earl. I didn't expect to be able to beat him in a straight up macro late game, but I'm happy I went for it because yeah, it was a good game. My recent performance, it's been okay during the off seasons. I wish I were playing. I'm definitely playing better than I was at EWC before this patch. Not just because of the patch, because I'm actually playing better. I feel like yeah, it has to do with I think practice and motivation. I've definitely been a little bit more motivated just because of the patch. So yeah, I practiced a bunch, and also I had a little extra motivation after practicing in Korea for EWC. Just being with other StarCraft players in the house was really nice. So I think that just motivation has really helped me play a little bit better recently. The difference between WTL and individual events. I mean, I don't know. It's really not that different from me. I just try to put up my best performance no matter what I'm playing in. It's kind of nice to be a part of a team and other people cheering you on, but I don't know. It feels about the same to me. And yeah, Happy New Year's, everyone. I hope this is going to be a great year for you. It would be nice if this was a great year for everyone. I hope StarCraft continues, and if it does, I'll continue to play. So yeah, that was my New Year's hope, I suppose. Yeah, thank you.
Ah, Spirit, he has so much to say. Do we have an interview? Do we? Oh, okay, we do.
I really enjoyed the new patch. I think it's because of the maps. The games are very spectacular and intense, so I like it. I'm obviously very proud of my performance. I think I was very lucky that Clem and Oliver wanted to play Protoss against me. I'm not afraid of anyone's Protoss, especially the off-race. I have a lot of secret build orders that I keep for important games. The difference between WTL and other events is obviously that the team games are very interesting, so that will be sad if it's gone. I wish you guys Happy New Year. Let's have hope they can host more tournaments in 2025.
He has so much to say. Let's go. Lovely to hear from both Astrea and Spirit coming into their final matches here of Massive Coliseum, or at least one of them. So I really appreciate, shout out to the production team for actually having these interviews. Does make sense considering we were going to be saying adieu to one of these two competitors, and I'm sure we're going to be seeing some more interviews in the coming weeks with the rest of the players, in the elimination round, as we have our matches getting ready for us. We have our best of 5. When it comes to what they had to say, once again, it was really cool to hear from Astrea. As we had assumed, again, as he was saying himself, it is a really rough time slot for his matches, as he's just now waking up. Likewise, apparently very cold as well in the morning, so hopefully Astrea is able to be awake, be alert, and be ready for his matches here, as he did do very well in the group stage. Also, it's great to hear about his perspective returning from Korea. As we had mentioned, we had assumed, or at least I had said that he had improved so much in Korea. Now that's all coming into play after the fact, unfortunately after EWC. But here we go. In the top right corner, we have Astrea. In the bottom left, we have Spirit. Let's go. We have our first match of the night, a best of 5. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat. As again, it was great to hear from their perspective. For those who are unaware, Astrea, he spent a lot of time in Korea just before EWC. He was there with Trigger, he was there with Future and Clem. They were all in Korea together, and all of them have shot up in skill. Of course, Clem more recently after that time in Korea, which led into EWC. Astrea and Trigger, it took them a little bit longer to bloom, but they definitely have shot up in skill quite heavily in the months preceding the EWC event, and also here in the off season as well. So it's been great to see their growth as players. But again, we'll see how they perform here in this matchup. As Spirit said, he's very confident in this TVP. He's very confident in this matchup and has some cheeky builds up his sleeve from time to time. Cool. For now, we're settling in. To hire additional openers, going to be an economic opener out of Spirit, going for a Rax into Expand. Likewise, Astrea going for his own Gate Expand into Cybercore. So a slightly more greedy, slightly more economic opener out of Astrea. Meanwhile, economic opener out of Spirit. As Spirit does open up, even with a Marine first, no Reaper. So this is quite common in Terran versus Protoss, where the Terran player does not SCV scout, so there's no SCV scouts, but this is one step further where there's no SCV scout, but there's also no Reaper scout either. Typically, we would be seeing a Hellion follow-up just so there's something out on the map, just so there's something to scout and something to get a read on what's going on. We'll see exactly how many corners Spirit does cut. We shall see. The players are settling in. It is going to be a Twilight Council opener out of Astrea. So working towards Blink. And my eyes are on Spirit here as to how he does follow this up. Is he going to go into Hellion? Is he going to go into Widowmine? Does he go for add-ons instead? How long do we progress here with only just the one unit? As there it is, there's a Hellion. So again, typically if a player does skip the SCV and does skip the Reaper, it's usually Hellion as a follow-up, and the Hellion isn't really designed to get any damage, it's just designed for scouting, just to get a read on what's going on, just to get a read on the build, on the tech, on whatever the Protoss is up to, just to get some kind of information. From here, Spirit going into a 1-1-1, Starport follow-up. It's going to be initially Hellion into Widowmine drop. Likewise, the Widowmine drop is also designed to scout more than anything. To drop into the bases to get a read on what is happening. As a Hellion moves out, even ignores the Adept. Just straight up ignores it. Commits. No cam, Spirit didn't clean the room, confirmed. Now he's just not wearing any clothes. He's doesn't want to get the streamed banned, papi. Ay, ay, ay. The pants they were wearing Spirit down. He had to cast them aside to speed up. Oh god, as the Adept does get into the main, 2 SCVs going to be going down already. Not bad. 2 SCVs, 2-4. Those workers should not have gone down. It's nicely done here by Astrea. Blink is on the way. Spirit, he is building up. Getting to his tank production. Raven is on the way as well. I believe Raven before Medevac. So Spirit is gearing up. Still just relying on his Hellion for some scouting information. As the hallucination does confirm the 1-1-1. Does get eyes on the Raven and tank follow-up as well. Astrea sees all he needs to. Getting to his third, I believe a 3-gate blink into a third base. Very economic opener here by Astrea. And this all makes sense. I should have mentioned it before. Welcome one and all to Amygdala, and one of the larger maps in the map pool. Longer rush distance by ground as well. The map does open up as time goes on, as rocks get knocked down, but at least in the early to mid game, it is much more secure, much easier to be economic and to build up towards that mid game as well. So really that's kind of where both of our players are headed, at least Astrea. Would you see that Spirit, he throws down 2 extra Raxes and an eBay, yet to throw down a third TC. We have seen Spirit be quite greedy in this matchup even earlier in Masters Coliseum, but he has yet to really commit or yet to really throw down the third base yet, still just committing into more production, into his +1 and stim timing. Interesting. So I'm curious to see if Spirit delays his third base even further, even if he skips a third entirely. That is also possible here for Spirit. We'll see where he takes us. Meanwhile, we have our splash damage of choice. Astrea is still just teching. Despite opening up with Blink Stalkers, he has been intentionally skipping warp ins to afford the Bay, the Forge, charge into Immortal production, into eventually Colossus production as well. So again, Astrea is also cutting corners, intentionally so. Hallucination does get eyes on the lack of 3rd TC. And on the production. And again, at least Astrea does also confirm the positioning of the army. More gateways now on the way for Astrea. And again, he's trying to hold off on making any units until he needs to. As here comes the move out. Hallucination barely does miss it, but the Stalker's ready. And Astrea, he spots the army. He knows now it's time to warp in. You can see here 4 Stalkers in production. Colossus on the way. Astrea slowing this down and preparing back at home. So again, so crucial here that he's able to get eyes on this and to slow it down somewhat. Going for the Widowmine, he will get it. Very nice pickup. Widowmine goes down. Likewise, Observer's in position. Scan ahead of time. Spirit does spot the main army, is aware of the Stalkers at least. Astrea has yet to get a 4th. It is going to be delayed as the pylons are going down. And Spirit doesn't commit here. He does have a 3rd CC on the way. 3rd CC now gets thrown down. It's a bit of a later 3rd base for Spirit. He's committing that much more. First Colossus has arrived. Astrea, he's going to be able to hold on to his 3rd base. But it's all about, can Astrea get... Oh, can he get a 4th? Can he expand and get a 4th base? That's why Spirit is here, to delay the expansion to contain Astrea. As the pylon is cancelled, we see Astrea forced to expand towards the south instead. Forced to expand away from Spirit, which is not exactly what he wanted. Spirit dropping into the main. Astrea, ooh, gets a couple shots off, but doesn't deny the drop. Does have a Zealot in position and should be able to clean this up without too much issue. Yeah, we'll force a pickup. So far, so good. The SimCity working against Astrea. Getting 7 perps. Very nice target firing. Oh my god. 7 workers go down. The Raven does fall. But a very nice damage here from Spirit. He has 7 workers. Another pylon going to be going down. Astrea, he will punish this though. He can chase this down. Gets a Marauder. Does manage to catch a Marauder. 3rd base is being taken. Astrea, he does spot this. He sees all. And very efficient pickoffs here, even getting another Widowmine. With that Spirit, he has to race back home. He's in position. The tanks are sieged. And Astrea, he has to respect that tank line. Backs off for now. Observer's just pointing out the Raven went down, as he did notice earlier. And Astrea, he isn't going to commit. He backs off. He backs off from here. Spirit, he's looking for the 4th base, confirms it is not towards the north. Can deduce it is towards the south instead. 2nd Robo is on the way. This tells us that Astrea, he's not moving out. He's not committing when it comes to a move out. He is taking up, getting into further upgrades. Warp Prison speed. Double Robo into double Disruptor production. Astrea can be active, but again, he's focusing his resources elsewhere. As he's double expanding. I mean, it makes sense the 4th base is late. So he gets up a later 4th, and he makes up for it with a much faster 5th. Likewise, Astrea does have map control. He's in position to protect his 4th. Spirit, he spots the expansion that's on the way. And Astrea is going to have to get ready there. Spirit, does he respond? Does he react? Oh, later armory for Spirit, so he's stuck with +1. +2 is delayed quite heavily. Astrea, he has eyes on the main army, so he knows if he ever does have to warp in defensively back at home. Drop into the mineral line. SCVs are going to be going down. Oh, never mind. Zelta or a move. Prism goes down. The warp in is denied. And Astrea, he strikes the 3rd. The army's out of position. Mind shot's going to be going off, but SCVs are going down. Astrea, he cannot commit to a fight, but he's going for the CC, and he gets it. Whew. Nice pickup. Expansion goes down. Astrea backs off from here. Once again, he should not commit. Oh, bleeding out some Stalkers. Some losses, some rough losses there for Astrea. As he pokes in once again, Astrea playing with fire. Oh, gets a Viking. Disruptor has arrived. Astrea maintaining this position. The Observer does spot the drop moving out. Astrea, he is aware. Yo, shout out to White Red, by the way. There's never clips the army. And the CC is going to go down once again. Ooh, that's a kill. That's a kill in the command center. There's the recall back home. Astrea, he backs up. But the damage has been done. And Spirit, he's in trouble. But both medevacs go down. Massive pickoffs. And Spirit, he's down to 2 bases. He's heavily down in supply. And here, the soup. It's not lying. It's not lying, Pappy. Astrea, he's setting up and he's going for the kill. Spirit, he's just taking too many losses here. Again, for that War Prism to drag the entire army out of position, I mean, that was the game-winning move. Spirit to have missed the move out. Not in position to protect the 3rd base. Snipes a Disruptor. Never goes off. Gets a Marauder and a Zealot. Zealot run by on the right-hand side, and Spirit just doesn't have the numbers to defend. As he gets distracted by the Zealots, Astrea moves in, and he's going for the tanks. The tanks are exposed. He gets 1, he gets 2. Zealots, they come in for the surround. And GG gets called. Astrea takes game number 1. Whew. GG. Astrea, he does take a lead in the series. Again, Astrea, he had a rough time in the previously in the upper rounds of Massive Coliseum. But last year, he starts things off with some momentum with a win. GG, well played. Does take a win here in game 1. Now, what I will say, though, is that Astrea, he had a lot of vision, had a lot of map control as well. He saw everything that Spirit was up to, every single thing when it comes to the drop play, when it comes to the move outs, when it comes to the 3rd base timing. Everything Astrea had eyes on. With that, he had plenty of information, plenty of time to respond, to get ready to protect his 3rd base, to warp in, to cut corners, more importantly, to know when he didn't have to warp in, when he didn't have to produce any kind of units, any kind of army. And with that, was able to find those weak points here in Spirit's defenses, able to pull them apart, and GG. GG, well played. That's game 1 in the books. We weren't able to quite have a look at the vetoes themselves. Interesting, as we have Astrea vetoing the extremes. He does veto one of the larger maps in Abyssal, or the smallest map in Whispers of Gold. Likewise, Spirit gets rid of El Dorado and Ultra Love as well, so they do get rid of some of the more macro defensive and also aggressive maps. What is left here is everything in between. What I'm surprised by, though, is that Neon Violet Square did not get vetoed. This is the largest map in the map pool, and it's coming up next here in game number 2. Now, we've spoken about this before. We've seen this before. Neon Violet Square is the new Radisson Station. If you don't know what that means that it's a game of green. Cut every single corner you can. As in the top left-hand corner. Oh, God, that's focus the camera. We have Astrea, and in the bottom right, we have a Spirit. Let's go. The blur is real. Astrea, he's being censored, Bappy. Oh my God. It hurt my eyes. And hopefully the camera will focus over time. I think we're kind of getting there. Basically what happened is, because Astrea was drinking coffee, and because he had moved his hand and his mug too close to the camera, it focused on the hand, it focused on the coffee itself, and we have since lost focus on the face. Well, we'll get it back. We'll get it back. As we are settling into game number 2. And we'll see how many corners we cut here. Again, it's all about getting the faster natural, the faster 3rd base, the faster 4th base as well. Here on Neon Violet Square, it is a very secure 5-base setup here. And as a result, we do often see a little late game on Neon Violet Square because of how long it takes to move out across the map alongside how defendable these bases are. So curious to see how both of our players will approach this. Spirit, I mean, again, he is known for his greed. He's known for cutting corners. If you recall, last game, he didn't get his 3rd CC until after his 5-rack setup. I would imagine this time he's going to be going for a much faster 3rd CC. For now, going for an economic opener, going for a racks into expansion. Likewise, Astrea. Oh, yeah, we're back. We can see his face. The focus is back. Meanwhile, Astrea just going for his own Gate Cyber expand. Or sorry, Gate expanded to Cyber Core. So economic openers all around. Really what I'm most curious about is the timing of the 3rd Nexus and the timing of the 3rd CC. That is what I want to know. So players are settling in. When it comes to the previous game, it was unfortunate that Spirit was unable to get eyes on the observers. That's kind of the big moments and the big thing to work on here for Spirit was without catching the observers, he was unable to really deny the vision and deny the scouting of his opponent, which allowed Astrea to be as greedy as he was. As we have our take-up choice, going to be a Twilight Council open out of Astrea, Twilight Council into a second gateway. Likewise, Spirit getting a safety bunker into his 1-1 setup. Rax followed by the factory. No command center yet. But Spirit, he's building up his resources. Going for the starport. So 1-1-1. Speaking of waking up early, that's a second Twilight Council. Oh no, I believe that should be a third gateway instead. So I mean, again, it's 5 a.m. in the morning for Astrea. He just woke up. He's huffing down that coffee, and hopefully he notices in time before the Twilight Council finishes. I believe that is not intentional. There we go. Whew. Does cancel in time, but that does delay his third gateway. That is going to be delayed third gateway instead, so a rough start here for Astrea. Reaper dips in, does get a full scout, gets eyes on the setup, but is going to go down without getting a probe kill. We go. Astrea, he goes for a third Nexus before the third gateway. So economic, a greedy follow-up here by Astrea. Again, I don't think he intended to get a third base this quickly necessarily, but you know, again, we had that fumbled start. Meanwhile, across the map, the 1-1-1 into Banshee. The hallucination does get eyes on the tech lab, but remember, last game, Spirit opened Raven, so for all that Astrea knows, it could be another Raven-based opener. Doesn't know whether or not it is Banshee. Meanwhile, alongside it, early tank production as well. Spirit has yet to expand, yet to get a third CC. Hellion dives past the army into the main, once again getting full scouts, getting eyes on any tech, on any production buildings, does confirm nothing additional has been placed. And the Banshee moves out. Banshee does move out to Spirit. Okay, we good. So it's just getting a little bit chilly here. Just closing things up. Meanwhile, we are follow-up tech. It is going to be the bay into charge towards Colossus production. The first Banshee has arrived, but as a reminder, it's only one Banshee and there is no cloak. So it gets a probe. Oh, but he's going to be caught out by the Blink Stalkers. Yeah, one more volley and the Banshee goes out. This was not worth it here for Spirit as he only gets one probe. One worker goes down for a Banshee. Better trade for Astrea. Spirit now getting into his own third CC. I believe that is a third CC after the third Rax. So that is earlier than previously, but not too greedy for Spirits. And I would have assumed he would have cut more corners, to be honest. As Spirit did invest more heavily here into this earlier game aggression, and so far it has not been worth it. Now the Raven does move out as a follow-up towards the main. Energy is available, auto charts as well. Astrea, he can respond. Oh, can respond. Meanwhile, shout out to the clean feed. We do cast from a clean feed, and sometimes it is a little bit shaky. Thankfully, not for too much longer. As we have Astrea taking up, Forge on the way, charge, extend thermal lens as well. And Astrea just rushing into a fourth. Getting to a fourth Nexus, securing himself on a 3-base economy. Building up more Colossus. What I'm curious though about is his vision. What he sees. There is an observer outside of the natural and he does spot the move out. Now he knows. Now it's time to warp in. Charge is done. We should be seeing shield batteries, should be seeing zealots as well. Alas, no shield battery set up here at the expansion yet. Does get eyes on the would-be third. But did he notice the move out? There we go. There's the warp in. Second Colossus has arrived. Astrea ideally would like to be proactive. He's going to be scouting with that zealot. He will get eyes on the army. Does spot it, is aware. Astrea, he responds. Again, lack of shield battery is concerning. Oof. As he pulls away. At the same time, SCV is going down towards Zealot Run By. I'm assuming Zealot Run By, as it's going to be 4 SCV kills. There it is. 4 workers go down. Nicely done. Meanwhile, Spirit doesn't quite have enough to dive in. Auto turret into the main. Astrea is in position. And does he have enough to engage? As time goes on, he's building up more zealots. +1 is almost done. And Spirit, he backs off. Wise move. Considering that this army is just getting larger for Astrea, and Spirit's isn't, he pulls away. Astrea, he spots the move. He spots the pullback. Catches the Widowmine. Oh no, the misrally! Oh, there's a bit of a misrally here. 1 medevac goes down. The second medevac as well. Ay, ay, ay. I mean, we spoke about how how Astrea, he just woke up. It's 5 a.m. Hopefully Spirit didn't just wake up. I mean, as we can't make these mistakes here. Not here, not when we're already down in the series. Need to tighten things up and bring it home again. I'm hoping for a back and forth. Spirit getting a 4th CC. Getting to Ghost production, getting the Vikings as well. Now, what I will say, despite some of these missteps, despite losing his Banshee, for example, losing these 2 medevacs as well, what I will say is that because the map is so large, we still have a breathing room here to build up. Even despite those losses, I should say, it's not like Astrea is threatening Spirit. Astrea, he's chilling back at home, but he is getting more expansions. He's getting a 5th base as we speak, and now he's embracing Disruptor production. Once the Disruptors have arrived, then Astrea can move out. Then he can start being more active and more aggressive. Speaking of, is now moving out across the map. Runs into the tanks. Oh no, the tanks are exposed. Doesn't quite commit. Ooh, takes some mine shots to the face. But there we go. 1, 2 tanks going to be going down. Engaging with the Bio Army. At the same time, Spirit going for a double drop. And Astrea, he can't quite chase. Pulls away. But does reset the tank count. Oh no! Catching a Raven as well. Not like this. Pylon does spot the drop. Astrea, he is aware. He responds to it. He's racing back home. Likewise, 2nd starport on the way for Spirit, Fusion Core as well, and that should be for Liberators. Now, as Spirit is going into Viking Lib, what is Astrea doing? I mean, he's on 5 bases. What does that mean? Sky Toss. +1 air attack, 2nd or 1st Stargate into Fleet Beacon, into 2nd Stargate, into Sky Toss. That is on the horizon here for Astrea. That's the ideal that you want to be going for in a late game TVP setup. And Astrea, he's thinking about it. He's working on it. Likewise moves out. Planetary not quite ready. Nova zones away. Vikings, they do zone well, but despite that, the base is going to be denied. Vikings, they collapse on the first Colossus. Colossus is going to go down. Nice pickup. 1 Colossus falls. And Astrea, he has to pull away. Gets 12 SCVs. But with only 1 Colossus, the army is vulnerable. Astrea, he pulls back. Does pull back, going to be reinforcing. There it is, there's a Fleet Beacon, 2nd Stargate. We'll see if Astrea goes for Tempest or Carriers, they both have their place. As Astrea is maxed out. Once again, zoning away, going for the CC. Nova's going off. Ooh, decent connections. And Astrea, he just collapses in, chasing this army down. Takes down the Medivacs, collapsing on the Bio. And there are so many more Disruptors behind this. We do see Spirit coming in with the double drop. He denies the warp in. Nicely done. Does he force a recall? Or does Astrea keep going? As Novas, they go off, they throw the army away. Astrea, he has defensive warp ins. He has reinforcements, takes down a full Medivac. And Astrea defends. Astrea, he defends, doesn't have to recall. Now pulling back. Spirit, he's only on 3 bases. So there's nothing really pressuring Astrea to push in, to move in. +2 air attack is on the way. Oh no! The Medivacs are getting caught out. And thankfully they will escape. 1 Medivac goes down, but the other 2 barely get away. Whew. That could have been worse. I mean, it's still rough, but could have been disastrous, as I'm sure Astrea's warping in back at home. Getting in position behind the mineral line. 1st Liberator goes down, 2nd one as well. As the Colossus wreaks havoc here in the mineral line. Meanwhile, in the main base, is anything to defend? There is. Astrea, he has reinforcements. He's up the drop. The Fleet Beacon was scattered. No Skytos transition yet here from Astrea. He's just working on those upgrades. Just more reliant on a ground-focused army. As the lib count gets higher, that's when Skytos is required, and there it is. A Tempest production has begun. That is going to be the answer to the libs. But Spirit needs another expansion. He's going for his 4th. He's going for the pocket base. Pocket base is on the way. The Freedom is here. But Astrea, he has a bank. Now it's the time to trade, as he does need more Skytos. Yeah, he dives in and does focus on the libs one after the other. There's not enough freedom. All 3 Liberators go down. Oh, and the Nova connects. Massive connection. Oh my god, the connections, they just keep going. And the splits aren't quite there. I mean, how can we? As he's pinned against the wall, does focus on 4 Disruptors. GG gets called, and Astrea will take a 2-0 lead. Whew. GG. Does take a 2-0 lead here so far in the series, and Spirit, he's up against the wall. I'll be honest, I was a little bit shocked to see that Spirit wasn't as greedy as he usually is. We spoke about it. Here in game number 2, we have seen Spirit in the past in this matchup go CC first, go for a 3rd CC before a starport, before a factory even, just be hyper greedy and not necessarily be punished for it. He's so good at that, but this game instead, if you recall, he did delay his expansions. He did delay his 3rd base, he delayed his 4th base as well. If you recall, he did take a little bit more, he committed a little bit more harder into his Banshee, into early game aggression. Alas, wasn't quite worth it for Spirit. Did fall behind economically, I should say, as a result. And he wasn't quite able to be as active as he would have liked to have been. Part of that is also the size of the maps, right? Amygdala and Neon Violet Square. Spirit, he's known for aggression, he's known for drop play as well, and he wasn't quite able to embrace that on these larger maps. And speaking of larger maps, they continue. The larger maps do continue. Up next, we have King's Cove. King's Cove is the 3rd largest map in the map pool, just behind Abyssal Reef and just behind Neon Violet Square. So because of that, if a player wanted to be active and aggressive, it can be a little bit more difficult on King's Cove. What I will say, though, is the 4th base. Unlike on some of these other maps, the 4th base on King's Cove is more exposed, so we could see Spirit be more committed early on to try to break down that 4th base and contain Astrea to 3 bases. We do often see that dynamic on King's Cove specifically. We'll see. The pressure is on. I'm hoping it's not a 3-0. I'm hoping it's not one-sided. I mean, in my mind, Spirit and Astrea are quite comparable in skill, and I would love to see an ace match. I mean, hey, we just saw the match history between Spirit and Astrea, and Spirit, he hasn't lost a series in, like, what, 2 years? It's crazy. But maybe it's also because they rarely play. Maybe they just don't compete enough against each other. Let's find out, actually. But they didn't come into play. Didn't quite need them, but that might change here in game 3. Is spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have Astrea, the blue Protoss. And in the top left, we have the red Terran. It is Spirit. And the pressure is on Spirit. He needs your support in the chat to make a series out of this. To bring us to a game 4, to bring us to a game 5. That's all I want out of this. I'm greedy, but I want more games. Give your energy to be out there. Give it all to be out there. Let's go. As again, welcome one and all to King's Cove. Again, King's Cove, another large map in the map pool. Very large map. But as we did allude to, as we did mention, the 4th base is a lot more exposed on this map. So we do often see a lot of 3-base aggression here and a lot of prioritization on just denying the expansions and just containing the Protoss onto 3 bases. But we'll see if we can get there. Clearly, Spirit needs to switch Astrea's drink with decaf. True, true. He needs to sabotage. No. As we do have both players gearing up, Spirit going for a Rax Expand, economic opener from our red Terran player. Astrea being as annoying as possible, trying to delay the expansion, does force one SCB down to the low ground, so already lost mining time. Marine has arrived, and now Spirit can expand. A bit of a delay of the expansion as well, by a second, by a couple of seconds. So a nice little start there from Astrea, as we're settling in. Both players expanding, both players gearing up. We can see Spirit checking for a proxy gateway. It makes sense considering that Astrea is up in this series, that this might be the game where he chooses to be more active and more aggressive. So Spirit just being as safe and secure as possible. Making sure there's no shenanigans going on. And once again, Twilight Council out of Astrea. I wouldn't have been opposed to Astrea opening up Stargate in either of these games, on Neon Violet Square, Amygdala, or on King's Cove. But as we can see here, clearly Astrea, he's just not really too comfortable stylistically with Stargate play, so Twilight Council every single game. Getting to blink. And again, I feel like we need to see something different out of Spirit. Either more aggressive play or more greedy play. One or the other. As we have yet to really get that. I mean, sure, we had a slightly earlier third CC last game, but I mean, the initial Banshee opener did not work out well. But now, Spirit being secure. Building up his bio. Hellions on the way to Scouts. As a reminder, I believe Spirit did skip his Reaper. So he has 0 scouting information for the time being. And this is what I wanted last game. Let's go. Do you see what I see on the production tab? That is a CC. That is a third CC before Starport. Finally, the greed. That's what I wanted on Amygdala. That's what I wanted on Neon Violet Square as well. Just Spirit cutting corners. Oh, but the Adept does shade in. That should not have happened. Astrea gets a full scout. He gets eyes on the 1-1. He has yet to see the third CC. Not yet. And it looks like he's going to be denied that scout. As he does try to get behind the mineral line. And the Marines, they will cut him off. The shade gets past. And, ooh, does Astrea, does he see? I believe he did not. So Astrea, he confirms. Astrea, he confirms with hallucination. So Astrea, he's fully aware of how greedy Spirit is being. And now the turns do table. Astrea setting up a proxy across the map. Because Spirit is being greedy, now's the opportunity for Astrea to be aggressive. He has a 3-gate setup back at home, and he's not going for a 4th gateway, but he is reinforcing across the map. And we'll see what Astrea can get done. We'll see if Spirit can get away with this greed. As Astrea is warping in 3 Stalkers at a time. Spirit, he's building up his tank counts. I believe he has a bunker on the low ground. Meanwhile, Astrea, he has high ground vision. He has hallucination. He can blink into the main. Is there a tank? Not quite. Yeah, no tank in position. Oh, the Starport or the Rax is going to be delayed. The tank, no! The tank, one more shot, one more volley, and oh my god, it barely survives. Whew. No, he gets it. Astrea, he dives in with the 1 Stalker. He gets the tank. And with the tank going down, these Stalkers, I mean, they can just kite this to death. Thankfully, there's not too much room in the main base, so he has to evacuate. Does pull away, but reinforcements have arrived. Astrea can just keep going, bullying back these Marines. Marines are going down. A tank has arrived. Sieging up in the production. But still, that's 8 SCVs going down. Ay, ay, ay. But Spirit, he will hold. Whew. He does hold on. He does defend. Does maintain the main. As Astrea, he reinforces, rotating towards the natural. Tank is just now repositioning. It's not quite ready. And Astrea, he could go for the dive. He does. Tank goes down, does not get a volley off. These Marines, they do not have stim, but they do body block. It's going to be 1, 2, 3 Stalkers going down. Not the worst trade for Spirit. But the tank count is still low. And with a low tank count, then Astrea, you just keep reinforcing, keep bullying this army. Another tank repositions, more Marines going down. Behind this, Astrea getting his 3rd base up and running, taking up into Forge, into Robo, into Bay, into Colossus. And I would say so far this has been a successful attack here from Astrea. Did not punish necessarily the 3rd base, but did punish Spirit. Got 2 tanks, a bunch of Marines, 8 SCVs if you recall. And the goal here is for Astrea to delay the 3rd base for as long as possible, to keep Spirit contained. As he does delay the production. Oh no. Does force 1 cancel. That's a kill! That's a kill, not a cancel on the 2nd Rax. Two SCVs, the CC under fire as well. It should not go down. It should be saved. It should be saved here. Likewise, Ambitious. Can he get... No, he gets stim! He gets stim as well. Oh, God. And what does that mean? That means that Spirit is stuck even longer. He's stuck in his main base even longer here. Trying to break out without stim is a difficult thing to do. Ay, ay, ay. As Astrea is just all over him. Getting a 4th base. While Spirit's stuck on 2. The Observer makes it in. He has eyes on the Tech Lab. Thankfully, Spirit is back up to 3 tanks. Okay, okay. Now with 3 tanks, he should be able to break out. As the army gets spotted, Astrea sees everything. And what does he go for? He sees all 3 tanks repositioning at the 3rd base. Astrea, he rotates. There we go. The tanks, they do siege. And Astrea does not need to push in. Doesn't need to. The damage has been done. At this point, Astrea, he can just back up. He can get his 4th base. He can tech up. He can throw down more forges even. That's a 2nd forge on the way. Jesus. Going into double upgrades. And Astrea, he can even just delay and skip warp-ins. He's warping in a couple of zealots here and there. But Astrea should be feeling pretty safe and sound. Again, there is no move out without stim. And stim is only halfway done. Meanwhile, there are no tanks at the natural. Oh. Yeah, no tanks at the natural base. Astrea just going for the depot. Gets a depot. Gets a marauder for a stalker. Not the worst trade from Astrea. 4 CC on the way for spirits. His goal here is to try to build up towards a 4th. But what I mentioned before is applicable on both sides. I was talking about how the 4th base is more exposed and is more abusable on King's Cove. And I was assuming that Spirit was going to be aggressive on 3 bases, but as he's getting a 4th base, this means that the opposite is true, where Astrea can be active instead and contain Spirit onto 3 bases. And keep him contained. As you can see, Astrea moving out with his main army. That's a lot of charge lots. That's a lot of Protoss. As Astrea, he's double expanding, getting a 5th. Ay, ay, ay. So his 4th is saturated, getting a 5th as well. Prism towards the natural. Now, what I will say is that Spirit's defensive setup on his 3rd base is quite solid. It's quite secure. I don't think Astrea needs to push up this ramp into this defensive setup. As I mentioned before, it's the 4th base that's exposed, not the 3rd. But Astrea, he might just try to send it anyway. I mean, he is up in supply. It may be enough to overcome the defensive setup here of Spirit. Zealots, they jump into the natural. Zealots into the main. Astrea, he responds. Going for a massive warp in. And depending on how Spirit reacts, Spirit, he can just send it. Sorry, Astrea can just send it. Yeah, he's going for the kill. He's going for the main army. He wants a tank line. He blinks in. A bit of an awkward attack, but alas, he gets 1, he gets 2, he gets 3. He's going to get all 4 tanks. The tanks, they all go down. Not enough support. The Bio Army was out of position. Zealots are wreaking havoc here in the natural base. Spirit, he does drop across the map, but this is game-ending damage. This is what? 23 SCVs going down. 4 tanks, the Bio Army. There's still Zealots in the main. And the army still threatening the 3rd. And Astrea is snowballing out of control. He's just all over this. Oh my god. The power of coffee. The power of caffeine. He's crazy. More importantly, the power of the smudge. The hoodie is up. GG gets called. And Astrea, he will take the series at 3-0. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. A very impressive win here from Astrea. Fun fact, Astrea has not beaten Spirit since 2023. It's been a long time. It's been years. It's been a very long time since Astrea has beaten Spirit. It was actually 2023 in, when was it? In July of 2023. It's been a long time. It's been a very long time, and to have a 3-0 result as well, very impressive. GG, well played. Astrea does advance on into the next round, and Spirit gets knocked out of the tournament. He gets knocked out of Masters Coliseum. My condolences to Spirit. Again, he's an amazing player, and Spirit, he has been looking very strong as of late, but everyone has an off day. And I want to believe that this is an off day for Spirit. Game 1 and Game 2 especially felt a little bit weird, especially when it came to some small missteps here and there, but also to some of the builds of choices as well. Maybe playing a little bit too safe, maybe playing a little bit too conservative at times, and Astrea just took full advantage of that as well. Maybe overconfidence by Spirit, hard to say. Regardless, with that, GG and Astrea will make it through. Congratulations here to Astrea, and I look forward to seeing more of Spirit in the coming week. As fun fact, next week is the Hauser Galactic Battle. We are going to be casting and featuring all the top Protoss players in this month, in January, here in an offline event in Warsaw. So we're going to be seeing some more Spirit. Do not fret, and hopefully he's in form coming into that offline event. Regardless, for now, we're going to be going on a short break. When we come back, we will have our next series. We will have another TVP between GuMiho and Zoun. See you soon. See you soon.
일단 패치를 했다는 점에서 정말 좋다고 생각합니다. 아무래도 패치 내용 자체가 초반에 관련된 패치가 많아서 그런지 예전과 다른 양상과 개념이 나와서 재밌고, 물론 연습을 더 해봐야 알겠지만 토스가 그래도 전 패치보다는 좋은 것 같습니다. 아쉬운 점은 클램 선수를 못 이겼다는 점에서 아쉽다는 평가를 내리고 싶고요. 그리고 저의 고질적인 문제가 이번 조별리그에서 나왔다고 생각해서 부족한 부분이 많았던 것 같습니다. 제가 아무래도 토스전을 못하다 보니 토스전 하는 게 더 위협이 크다고 생각이 듭니다. 올리베이라가 이번에 토스로 하는 거 보고 저랑 할 때는 토스만 하지 마라 라는 생각을 가지고 있었는데 토스를 딱 해가지고 게임 내내 불안했습니다. WTA 같은 경우에는 아무래도 팀리그다 보니까 내가 저도 믿고 맡길 팀원이 있어서 마음이 편한데, 개인 리그 같은 경우에는 제가 다 해야 되는 부분인지라 마음가짐에서부터 다르다고 생각합니다. 스타투 팬 여러분들, 마스터 콜로세움 8에서 재미를 느꼈으면 좋겠습니다. 그리고 스타투 하는 유망주들에게 지금은 힘든 시기지만 우리가 좋은 경기력을 보여주면은 좋아질 거라고 생각합니다. 모두 파이팅!
Let's go. So very quick translations. The first question, Zoun was asked what he thinks about the patch, and Zoun responded that he thinks that Protoss is better than the previous patch, so he's enjoying Protoss at the moment. Then after that, he was asked about Raynor and Clem's Protoss and the PvP matchup if they off-raced against him.
새로운 패치 버전은 테란이 약간 빠른 속도로 게임하는 걸 강조하는 버전이라고 생각해서 아직은 좀 적응 단계에 있는 것 같아요. 그룹 스테이지는 뚫어서 정말 다행이라고 생각했어요. 상당히 힘든 그룹이라 쉽지 않을 거라고 생각했거든요. 제가 레이너 토스에 대해서는 잘 모르겠지만
They're asking about Raynor and Clem's off-race again.
연습할 때도 실제로 제가 많이 집니다. 팀 리그는 여러 선수를 보는 재미가 있고 개인 리그는 다전제를 보는 재미가 있는 것 같아요. 특별한 전략을 준비한다기보단 우승을 위해서 뭔가 실현 가능한 모든 전략을 약간 연습하는 그런 느낌으로 준비하고 있어요. 마스터 콜로세움 8 정말 우승하고 싶거든요. 항상 스타투를 시청해주시고 응원해주시는 팬분들한테 정말 감사하고 새해 복 많이 받으시길 바라겠습니다. 감사합니다.
Okay, we're good. So very quick rough translations here as I was using Google Lens to translate the subtitles. But winding it back, they weren't being asked about specifically Clem, they were being asked about Clem and Raynor. They were being asked about their off race. So the more fun questions, they were basically asking Zoun, like if Raynor and Clem, if they play Protoss, like what do you think about your chances against them? Like how well are you going to perform? Zoun was saying that he wasn't too confident in PvP, so he was hoping not to play against their off race. Same with Oliveira. He brought up Oliveira. He was like, yeah, I saw Oliveira play Protoss as well, and I'm not feeling too confident, so hopefully they don't play Protoss against me. GuMiho was asked the same question. GuMiho said that he thinks that Clem's Protoss is really strong. He has beaten Clem's Protoss before, but it is definitely something that he fears, and he's not really too threatened by Raynor's Protoss. He's He mainly referred to Clem. He mainly referred to Clem's off race. They were also asked about their group stage performances and how they thought they performed. Likewise, they were also asked about the current patch. I mentioned that Zoun feels like Protoss is a lot better this patch. GuMiho was talking about how he feels that the new patch is a little bit more fast paced, which he appreciates as well. But we're jumping into our first series. In the bottom left-hand corner, we have Zoun, our Korean Protoss. And in the top right, we have a GuMiho, the Green Terran. Also, I do apologize if the audio wasn't going through previously. I do apologize if that's the case. Sorry, I may have had some audio issues here. It's all good. But yeah, with that, we are now getting into our second best of 5 of the night. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will take the series. Best of luck in the chat. Ooh. But I didn't get everything for the GuMiho series because they were cutting really fast. Like they were cutting back and forth, so I didn't get to see all of the subtitles for GuMiho's interview. So rough translations. Here we go. Player skill level differing in race matchup is interesting. I mean, that's always been the case. Like, for example, Cyril's weakest matchup has been ZVZ for a long time. Clem's has been TVT. You have Ryung as a TVT specialist. You have Solar as a ZVZ specialist. That's always been the case where certain players' matchups are weaker than other matchups. Like, everyone has a weakest matchup. So that's why, like, generally you'd have one player that's stronger than another, but against like another player's race of a different level, like they can sometimes, you know, cause upsets. Like that's typically how things go in StarCraft. That's traditionally how they've always been. Is how it's always been. Like coming into this, for example, as we settle into our fresh best of 5, Zoun's weakest matchup is PvZ. It's where he struggles in the most. PvT is one of his strongest matchups, so because of that, coming in against GuMiho, Zoun, he has a good chance here to cause an upset. Even though I would say that GuMiho is the stronger overall player, Zoun, he is more confident specifically against other Terran players, or at least he's had better results against other top Terran players. So we'll see how we settle in. What I should emphasize as well coming into this, of course, is GuMiho is a very unique player. GuMiho, he does play with his own builds. He does often play mech against Protoss as well, which is something that very rarely occurs from other top Terran players. So, and likewise, GuMiho comes up with his own builds. Does very often come up with his own builds that he does whip out at big premier events. So GuMiho is very unique in that sense and very unlike other Terran players. So you might be good against Terran, but are you good against GuMiho? That's the better question. Here we are settling in. For now, GuMiho did go for the high ground CC, I believe, racks into factory, followed by the starport here. That was starport after CC from the side of GuMiho, and GuMiho is going for an early tank drop. Very aggressive build here by GuMiho. He is gearing up and soon to be moving out with tanks, with marines, with medevacs. And I believe Zoun is in the dark. I believe Zoun has not seen this, as the observer is pointing out. Again, the early push here from GuMiho. Back at home, Zoun opening up Twilight Council into Blink. As here we go, the tanks are moving out. Thankfully, Zoun does scout this. Zoun does confirm. He is aware of what's going on and needs to prepare. He needs warp ins ASAP. Likewise, I appreciate this being active. Again, the goal for Zoun is to slow this down. To slow this down, these are vanilla Marines. There's no stim. There is no stim. Marines are getting picked up. First Marine goes down. Ideally, he's hoping to force a siege as well. As Zoun, he's forced back. Oh, a bit of miscontrol out of Zoun. Does move command forward. And he did miss a volley. There we go. Gets a second Marine and a third. 3-4 Marines going to be going down. Tanks are moving in. They get a Stalker. Hopping up micro out of GuMiho, saves the tank. And now Zoun is up against the wall. He needs a couple more seconds here for the Immortal. The Immortal's on the way. Shield battery is done. And with the help of the Immortal, he can focus down that tank. As the gateway does fall. He goes to the dive, goes to the blink. He gets one of the tanks. Gets one, and he should be able to get the other as well. And the Immortal has arrived just in time. Force fields the Marines. And Zoun defends. Zoun, he does hold, he does defend, he does preserve his Stalkers, does preserve his Immortal as well. He holds. And GuMiho has to race back home. Zoun gonna try and to chase him down. Okay, bold move. I mean, GuMiho, the tanks are exposed. If Zoun can catch the medevac. Oh, he has to blink. The last of the tanks, they do siege up in time. GuMiho getting ready for the counterattack. He is set up. And he does force back the Stalkers. GuMiho holds. Whew, he does hold on. Behind the Zoun, he did not reinforce. He's been taking. Throws down the third expansion. Throws down the Bay into charge. Very nice setup here from Zoun. Is settling it. So we have a game. Despite how chaotic, despite how aggressive GuMiho did start, we do have a game here as GuMiho gets forced back home. Now, what I will say when it comes to the failed push here by GuMiho is that he only lost one tank. Only one tank went down. If you recall, he saved the second tank. He saved the medevac as well. So he preserved a bunch of his high-tech units. With that, that means that he can follow this up with a stim timing, with a 2-base push instead. So GuMiho, he only really lost Marines and the one tank. So his army still poses a threat. So the Banshee moves out, is spotted by the pylon. Zoun is getting ready. 2 more Raxes on the way, and my eyes for GuMiho are on whether or not he expands, whether or not he gets a third CC. Or if he goes for a 2-base all-in. Scans, spots the Observer, brings it down. Zoun is in the dark. Let's go. I can't call Clem the new best player until his TVT is patched. Clem is, I would say, the best player in the world, 100%. And he doesn't need to improve his TVT if his if his PVT is better. Is the reality. Which I think is a really unique approach, and definitely a lot of fun. I mean, there's a reason why the Clem is a world champion. As he moves out. GuMiho, I mean. So GuMiho does move out. Oh! Runs into the army, hot pickup. Does save the tanks. GuMiho slowly pushing forward. Setting up his tank line. Attempting to zone away Zoun. Again, that is what? 6 to Jeez. That is 6 tanks, by the way. That's a very heavy tank count. It's basically a 2-base all-in. As we did mention, GuMiho, he turned his 1-base all-in, or his 1-base push into a 2-base all-in. The tanks are within range of the Nexus, and Zoun, he's up against the wall. He is pinned back. Zelze coming from behind, but again against 6 tanks, I mean, they do force some friendly fire. 1 tank goes down, 5 tanks left, but the base falls. Yeah, the Nexus goes down, and GuMiho is snowballing out of control, pushing in towards the natural. Zoun taking it slow, doesn't fully engage yet, but again is being forced further and further back. GuMiho going into the main, he's crazy. Let's go. Does get within range, boosts in, the army's out of position. Stalkers, they respond. They get one of the tanks. A bit of a chaotic fight here for GuMiho. He sims in, chases down one of the Colossus, just barely. Colossus goes down. Push in towards the main base, still gaining ground, still pushing in. He's still pushing in. Moving forward. Yeah, and GuMiho is just pulling Zoun apart. There is still no expansion. There's no third base. The main base production's under fire. GuMiho now getting a third on location. Technically not all in, but I mean, it was technically expanding, but he doesn't need to. As he can just keep pushing in towards the main. Observer gets picked off. Zoun coming in from behind, getting on top of the tanks. GuMiho, he responds, he unloads. Yeah, we'll be able to defend. He shuts down the Immortals. Oh my god, 2 Immortals go down. The 3rd Immortal as well will not escape. And Zoun, he barely has a standing army. Barely has anything left here. And GG gets called with that. GuMiho, he will take game number 1. Whew, GG. GG, well played. A very aggressive style here out of GuMiho, and initially going for the initial 1-base move outs, or I should say 1.5-base move outs, with the early tank, with the early medevacs. But again, remember, it was so crucial, so important that GuMiho did not lose his army when he backed off. He only lost the 1 tank. We were pointing it out. He was able to build up his tank count over time. He moved out on 2 bases with 6 tanks. It was a brutal 2-base all-in with 6 tanks. It was crazy, and Zoun was not able to slow it down. He was not able to force the siege early on, pick off any of the tanks, and slow down the army. By the time GuMiho got across the map, it was just too much to handle. Zoun could not engage with that. GG, well played. It was also really cool to see GuMiho dropping into the main. Instead of pushing towards the natural, which Zoun was expecting, he was not expecting the drop into the main base instead. Did kind of deviate, did divert, catching Zoun out of position. And with that, GuMiho takes a lead. GuMiho does take a lead, and now we're getting ready for game number 2. Game number 2 is going to be here on Ultra Love. Let's go. Now, Ultra Love is a... GuMiho playing from the Christmas cabin. Exactly. Ah, it's beautiful. Love to see it. It's cozy. That's what's important. Very cozy. As we're settling into game 2, and in the top right-hand corner, we have Zoun, the Korean Protoss. In the bottom left, we have his opponent. We have GuMiho, Korean Terran. Let's go. Here we go. Currently, Seryl's best matchup is ZVZ, I think. Just because we've seen Seryl lose to certain players doesn't mean this matchup is suddenly worse. Clem has been losing to Clem, but Seryl has been losing to Clem, but Seryl still, I would say, has the best ZVT in the world. Just because he's losing to the best player in the world doesn't mean that he's suddenly weak in a matchup. So I think it's important to bear that in mind when it comes to context and when it comes to your view on a player and their skill and their level. Just because he's losing to a player, that says more about the player he's losing to, less so about them themselves. But for now, we're settling in. We're settling into our matchup. Likewise, we've seen both Zoun and GuMiho lose to Seryl recently. I mean, it's Seryl. He's crazy. Doesn't mean they're weaker against the Zerg matchup. So now we do have Zoun going for his own natural, just going for a gate cyber expand out of Zoun. And my eyes are on GuMiho, double gas into a faster factory. Now, we saw last game that this led into an early tank drop. That is true. I do not expect the same build 2 games in a row. I don't expect the same tank drop, but this can lead into early Banshee production, into Banshee tank. This can lead into earlier tech, a committed Widowmine drop as well. There are options here. GuMiho is even one to rush into BCs in this matchup. It's very rare, but if anyone does it, it's GuMiho. Again, he's crazy like that. Aye. This is getting a CC on location. Opening up a Reaper Hellion initially. Here we go. So now there's that starport follow-up here from GuMiho. So just going racks into factory into CC. Tech labs are on the way. I'm curious if this is for an add-on swap into Banshee production. Again, Banshee play has been quite trendy amongst the Korean Terran players in this matchup. Zoun back at home. Getting to his tech of choice, going for a Robo Opener. Okay, this is a rarer sight. Meanwhile, GuMiho, he busts into the main or into the natural, going for the mineral line. Probe's going to be going down. He gets 1, he gets 2. Oh, barely doesn't get the second. 1 probe goes out. Nice force field. Just shuts down the Reapers. Very nice defense here by Zoun. Losing only 1 worker. Losing only 1 probe. And with that, Zoun defends. And again, behind this is a Robo first. Now, with a Robo Opener, this is typically very defensive. This leads into early Immortal, early Observer, early Colossus with the earlier Bay as well. The downside of going for a Robo Opener is that you're lacking map control because you don't have any Blink Stalkers. No Blink Stalkers, no Phoenixes either, no Oracles. So just a much more defensive start here from Zoun. Meanwhile, I did mention that I didn't expect the early tank drop here, but the medevac is moving out. Tank production has begun. GuMiho is being active, at least somewhat. Making his way across the map. He is less committed than previously, but the Viking is an interesting addition. Meanwhile, GuMiho, can he reach the mineral line? No, he can at least reach the Robo. Oh, shot going off the Stalkers. Yeah, he can reach the mineral line. Aye. We've seen this on Abyssal Reef, but I wasn't too certain this could happen here on Ultra Love as well. Just pokes in, disrupts the economy, and pulls away. Yeah, no big commitment here from GuMiho. Saludos de Chile. Oh, saludos, papi, saludos. Buenos días, buenos días. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? GuMiho retreats. Again, his tank production has been building up since the start of the game. He's up to 3, soon to be 4 tanks. And similarly to the previous game, not the same, but similarly, he is working towards a 2-base push with mass tank. He's going to have 5, soon to be 6 tanks. No stim, but the tanks are what matters. You see Zoun trying to slow down the push, going for the tower. But GuMiho, he breaks through, takes down a Stalker. He gets 1. Ooh, Medevac taking a lot of hits. Oh! Ooh, Medevac does survive. And GuMiho is getting within range of the production of the Robo. At the same time, Zoun dropping across the map. Robo's under fire. Immortal production going to be denied. GuMiho does have reinforcements. The boys are being pulled. SCVs are going down. We do see Zoun trying to break out. But he's pushing into 3 tanks. Oh my god. Yeah, the tank volleys are insane. 1 tank goes down. But he gets the Immortal. Oh, just barely not. The Immortal survives. No! The Immortal goes down. No energy left. And GuMiho, he maintains his position just barely. He's going to be cleaned up. The Immortal does pop out. Zoun holds. Whew. Zoun does hold. I don't know if you noticed how low the Robo got. The Robo got insanely low. It was so close. The Robo survived. The Immortal pops out. Zoun holds. And as the observer is pointing out, that was 9 SCVs going down. Looks like we don't have WSS game heart, so we can't see the workers being killed. But regardless, 9 workers did fall. So a nice counterattack by Zoun, and Zoun can expand. He survives. And GuMiho's not done. Here comes the second wave, this time with Stim. 3rd CC's on the way. 3rd base was delayed for GuMiho in favor of this aggression. Bear that in mind. Drop comes back in, forcing friendly fire. Keeping GuMiho pinned. GuMiho is going to be stuck back at home despite having Stim. He has to respect the Warp Prism. Until the Prism goes down, GuMiho, he will be just being more defensive. Meanwhile, Zoun now taking into Blink, taking into a Temple Archives. So Blink Stalkers, Archons into Storm, I would imagine. And we can embrace the mid-game. We made it. Despite the chaotic game in Game 1, and despite the chaotic start here in Game 2, we can get into a longer game state. We can have a back and forth, getting to our 3rd bases, embracing our economies. We can settle in. As GuMiho is now landing his 3rd base, going for a drop at the same time. Zoun is being somewhat active, but he has to be very careful. This is a very fragile, very bare bones army. So Zoun, he pulls away. And again, from here we can get into the mid game. Zoun does need to expand soon. For those that are curious, typically the Protoss player wants to be up in expansion compared to the Terran just because of mules, how the economies work. And is getting some economic damage. Nice drop into the mineral line. This does make up for it. Getting a handful of SCVs. Zoun is maintaining himself. Building up. Temple Archives is done. We have yet to see Storm. Not yet. And as Zoun, as he attempts to expand and get a 4th, he is delayed. But thankfully, the 4th base isn't too far behind. The 4th has finally been placed. GuMiho is aware. And now GuMiho has a target. The 4th base of Zoun. Let's see if he tries to knock it down. For now, just securing himself. He is securing his bases. I had assumed that Zoun was going to be taking into Storm, but that is a Bay on the way. Looks like the Temple Archives are just for Archons, and he's working towards Colossus. Now, this tells me that the splash damage of Zoun is very delayed. So he is vulnerable. GuMiho poking out, but last Zoun, he has the ramp, or he has the bridge, I should say. He has control of the choke point. And again, this is one of the big features of Ultra Love is how defendable this map is. It is so difficult to push past the halfway mark with your main armies. Zalaran gets cleaned up. Nice defense here by GuMiho. But again, there are so many choke points, so many ramps on Ultra Love. There's a reason why we often see late game on this map. We often see, you know, 6 base versus 6 base. Zoun gets through though. Does get through the ramp. GuMiho out of position, going for a base trade. Oh god. He abandons the third base. And he's going across the map, trading his third for the third base of Zoun. And the expansion is going to fall for both players. But does GuMiho keep going? Do we have a recall? Yeah, there is. There is a recall in time. The robot finally goes down. It was on like 1 HP. The robot falls. GuMiho has to kite back. Doesn't get surrounded. Does get away. We can see his Zoun double expanding, getting his 5th and his 3rd. And this was good damage by GuMiho, but I would say not enough. GuMiho is stuck on 2 bases. And Zoun, if he can get this 5-base setup up and running, then Zoun is going to snowball out of control. GuMiho is on a timer. GuMiho is on a timer. He either has to kill or snipe some bases. Or snipe some of these expansions. As GuMiho is floating his main base over. Zoun containing GuMiho. That is Zoun's win condition. All he has to do is just contain. Just contain the Terran and expand. That's all that Zoun has to do. But now he commits though. Yeah, does dive in. The tanks are unsieged. Tanks are unsieged. Mine shot's going off though. That's a heavy bio army. Yeah, bullying back the Protoss. Trying to stem in, getting us over the Immortals. The Immortals are exposed. They're going to be going down one after the other. And again, there's no splash damage here. No Disruptors, no Colossus, no Storm. Oh, GuMiho takes the fight. And GuMiho can keep pushing. Can keep moving out for now. Pulling back. Does want to risk it. Gets his third base up and running. Stalkers, they rotate. Zoun hitting the 3rd. But GuMiho's here. GuMiho's ready. Oh, we'll lose the tank. Massive pickup. Tank goes down. The first Disruptor on the way for Zoun. This is risky. Zoun to skip Colossus, go straight for Disruptors is a very risky thing to do. We'll see if he gets away with it. Stalker's getting picked up. As you can imagine, Disruptors are very much so. They're very risky in how they play. And GuMiho, he expands. Throws in a 4th. Technically a 3rd. 3rd TC on the way. This tells me that Zoun gets away with his double expand. And even though Zoun was taking a lot of losses army-wise, economically, he is going to be taking a lead. As he can make 5 probes at a time. But in a head-on fight, Zoun, he can't quite take it to GuMiho. GuMiho threatens a move out. Zoun trying to keep up. Thankfully, Zoun, he has observers. Zalaran here towards the 3rd. GuMiho's ready. As the main armies, they do clash. GuMiho stimming in, takes down the Zealots, going for the Stalkers. He breaks through. And GuMiho, he can take this fight. He has the better upgrades, the better army, the more efficient army, I should say. And where are the Disruptors? Oh. Did the Disruptors go down? It's possible they got caught out. They should be here. So 0 Disruptors for Zoun. He has 1 on the way. And GuMiho is going for the kill. Disruptor has arrived. Nova goes up. Oh, grazes the army. Shot goes off on the tank. But GuMiho has far too much. He's snowballing out of control. Again, there's just nothing to stop him. He breaks through the defensive line, gets over the bases, and the Nexus is going to fall. And he can just keep going. Zoun was just unable to recover. As we mentioned, it was a very risky thing to go for the Disruptors. It happened off screen, but Zoun, he lost 3 Disruptors in the end. GuMiho GG gets called, and GuMiho takes a 2-0 lead. Whew. GG. A very tense game. Very tense game, very clutch, very close. GuMiho does close it out in the end. Again, Zoun, all he had to do was survive, get into his 5-base economy, and get into his rover production. We didn't see it quite on cameras there, but again, Zoun, he had 2 Disruptors, and it looked like GuMiho caught. And we'll see how our players open up. As we are loading into potentially the final game of the series, spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have Zoun, Green Protoss. In the bottom left, we have his opponent. We have GuMiho, Korean Terran. Let's go. Let us go. GuMiho's background / house looks nice. For those that are curious, it is a green screen, but we want to believe it's his house. It is his it's his holiday house, is what we should say. Is GuMiho's holiday house. You know, spending his time in Princeton. Let's go. By the fireside, still celebrating Christmas, of course. Is this where we do we name and shame people that leave their Christmas decorations up for most of the year? I'll be honest, I remember growing up, there was a year where I think we had reached July and we still had the Christmas tree up. Like, I think we've gone up to July while still having the Christmas tree up when I was a kid. I'm pretty sure that's happened. At a certain point, you're closer to the next Christmas than the previous one, so you may as well just leave it up. You may as well just commit and just leave it up all year, so then it's ready, right? Why bring it down when you have to bring it back up? True. Aye. If it's still open, might as well just leave it. Might as well. I think we ended up bringing it down in September. We didn't leave it up all year. I think September is when we brought it down, around like August, September. That's yeah. just never got around to it. Has anyone gone all year? No shot. We call it the Christmas room instead of the living room. Oh no. Aye. That did happen. I think that was like 2010, maybe 2011, like around that. But now though, we're settling in. Do have our economic openers. This time Zoun going to be opening up with a Twilight Council, not a Robo. This is a much more active style. Getting into Blink, of course, and we'll see how many gateways Zoun throws down. Does it go 2-gate Blink, 3-gate Blink, or 4-gate Blink Stalker? We'll see how he does commit. Shall see. Meanwhile, we have GuMiho getting into his own 1-1-1. Economic opener into his factory, into his starport. Now, every game so far, we have seen early tank production out of GuMiho in some way. And we'll see if that trend continues here in Game 3. As he is being active with his Marines. So far, I believe no tech lab. Not yet. There we go. Tech lab's on the way in the factory. And last game, he did not add-on swap. There was no add-on swap out of GuMiho, so he started up early tank production into a medevac. We'll see if he swaps or if he doesn't. If he swaps, then it could be a Banshee-based opener instead. And there it is. Liberator's on the way. Are we going for the early tank? I believe we are. Oh, no, it's my point. Cyclone instead. True, you do need a tech level for the Cyclone. So Cyclone production and Liberator production here early on for GuMiho. So it is being aggressive, but a very different form of aggression this time from the Terran. Getting to Lib Cyclone. Back at home, I believe that is the third gateway on the way. Yep, third gateway on the way for Zoun. So 3-gate Blink, very safe opener. 2 more Raxes on the way for GuMiho. Still no third CC. And Zoun is setting up for his own third expansion. So far, GuMiho denying the scouts, or at least trying to. Hallucination does scout the production at least. The Liberator moves out. And GuMiho has eyes on the would-be third. Okay, so it looks like it was only a safety Cyclone. Just harassing with the Liberator. He doesn't move out with his army. Just with the Lib. As GuMiho is working on +1. No tank production whatsoever this time. Interesting. I mean, again, Game 1 and Game 2, GuMiho was all about cranking out those tanks as quickly as possible. This time, it's more of a biocentric composition. Early +1, into stim, into early Marauder production as well. It's all about that bio. Now the question becomes, can he maintain himself? Can he defend against the Blink Stalkers? Without tanks, it can be difficult to hold. Can be difficult, but of course Zoun did take a third base. Just now being active with some Stalkers, but doesn't really have enough to really threaten GuMiho too much. Stalkers have arrived. There's a bunker on the low ground. And that should be enough to deter. Sandy pokes in. The Liberator has yet to commit. GuMiho just chilling outside of the bases. Now once again applying pressure here to the natural. Can bring down the bunker. Yeah, the repair's not in time. Bunker goes down. Marines as well. Nice valley here out of Zoun. Does catch the Marines. Stim not quite done. Forcing a recall. Stalkers, they make it back. And Zoun is just chilling. Just chilling. His third base getting saturated. Getting into Colossus production. The bay is on the way. Gateway explosion for charge lots. Zoun looking much more comfortable. I should say, this is the most comfortable Zoun has looked the entire series. And a big reason for this is because unlike the previous games, there's been no early tank push. GuMiho has been more passive in this game. And Zoun, he can get into his own game state here. Armies, they are about to clash. Stim is finishing up. As GuMiho moves out, Zoun is moving in with that drop. Does have a Zealot drop towards the main. GuMiho, he stims in, goes to the time, does get the sentry. Sentry goes down, Zealots as well. Oof. Mindshot going off here on the Adept, and GuMiho, can he get on top of the Colossus? He cannot. The Colossus does pull out just in time, and with the help of the Colossus, Zoun, he holds. He does hold, he does defend. 3 probes going down to the main. At the same time, Zealot drop into the main base of GuMiho, warping into the natural. And Zoun is getting a lot done. 8 SCVs so far, and the warp in completes. Not quite getting a 10th worker, but does get 9. There we go. 10 SCVs going down. And GuMiho is being pulled apart. Zoun getting a 4th, pushing towards a 3rd CC. Can he force a... No shot. He shouldn't force a cancel. But he does delay. GuMiho stims in, gets a Colossus. Oh, the pickup might... the Colossus, it stands strong. Zoun, he's stumbling out of control. Oh god! The Mind Shot. Mind Shot goes off, takes down the Colossus. The CC survives, does complete. But GuMiho is still up against the wall. There's still barely an army here for GuMiho. The CC is going to be focused down, and GuMiho has nothing left. This is what happens when GuMiho is more passive. This is when GuMiho just isn't hyper aggressive in your face. Zoun is the one that snowballs out of control. Takes down 5 SCVs, 6 SCVs, even 7. Doesn't quite kill the 3rd. Liberator's being a nuisance in the main. But Zoun has momentum. He's almost got double the worker count of GuMiho. Getting his 4th. Christmas, 365 days of the year. Exactly. It's always Christmas. At least in GuMiho's house. Let's go. Let's go. Look, it takes a lot of effort, you know. Taking down the tree, stuffing it in a box, taping up the box, taking it outside. It's oh no. GuMiho pushing in towards the 4th. Somewhat being active, but I mean, again, Zoun is looking very comfortable. He collapses on the main army, chasing it down. There's just barely anything left here for GuMiho. Has the one medevac, does escape. And at a certain point, Zoun can just commit in towards the 3rd base once again. As he will catch out the army. Medevac falls. There are at least a couple of Widow Mines shots about to be going off. They didn't quite get baited out. Oh, they connect here with the main army. But the 2nd Colossus has arrived, and there's just no backbone to the army of GuMiho. No tank line to fall back on. As Colossus, they do threaten the mineral line. Oh. And catching out the Widow Mines. One shot going up. Zoun still reinforcing, and there is no War Prism that is keeping GuMiho in this. as it takes a long time for the reinforcements to arrive. But as I say that, here comes the War Prism. And here come the Warpins. GG gets called as Zoun. He breaks through, and Zoun makes a series out of this, putting a point on the board. GG. GG, well played. Again, we had a much more passive game here out of GuMiho, setting up and getting into a bit of a later bio timing and bio aggression. As a result, Zoun was able to comfortably get into his natural, get into his third base, take up into Colossus, maintain map control, and yeah, just get into his game. He had just a much more comfortable setup here on ley lines. And with that, Zoun fights back. Now we're getting to game number 4. A map that we don't often get to see here. We're going to be loading into Frostline. Frostline, a very untangling them again, putting on the ornaments onto the tree. True. The bottom left-hand corner, we have Zoun, the South Korean Protoss. In the top right, we have GuMiho, the Green Terran. Let's go. Here we go. So we are going to be settling in this time for the first time, I think, this series, Double Gas. Okay, Double Gas opener out of GuMiho. May have seen it previously, but I did miss it. But this does mean a faster factory from our Terran player. With this can mean faster tank production as well. So our eye is going to be on GuMiho to see how committed he's going to be. As Zoun dips in for a scout. Here we go. Checking each globe in case one blows you. Oh my god. Oh no. As it is, the factory is going to be on the way. Likewise, Zoun just opening up in a standard fashion, just a gate Cybercore into expansion. Zoun settling in. And it's all about what is going to be done here with this factory. Do we open up with Reaper Hellion? Do we open up early Cyclone? Do we open up with early tanks or even into Banshee play? Widowmine drop? GuMiho has options. Takes down the probe. See what he does embrace. Christmas lights are generally made cheap. So, I mean, I think we've had the same Christmas lights for like... how long? 25 years. Like to be fair, I think some of the lights like individually don't work, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. As long as most of them light up, it's all good. It's all good. So now we do have our move out. Starport follow-up here. It is going to be initially Reaper Hellion. And the goal for GuMiho should be to bust into a mineral line, to race past the ground army. But Zoun, he does notice, he does start walling up. The gateway has been placed, and he does have the sentry for force fields. Ooh, so this is a big commitment here from GuMiho, and if he doesn't get into the mineral line, then it's not going to be worth it. Does threaten a dive. The army's in position. Oh! Zoun holds. Zoun, he does hold. GuMiho force back, following this up with a Widowmine drop. And so far, Zoun in a better position. He deflects the army. This is a big investment here by GuMiho. But there is going to be another opportunity here with the mine drop. He can always come in with both armies, with the Hellions, with the Reapers, with the Widowmines as well. So there is going to be another window, another timing here to get damage done. As the Widowmines move out, as they move out, the hallucination barely does spot the drop. Zoun is getting ready. GuMiho makes his way towards the main. Likewise, Reaper Hellion towards the natural. And we'll see if Zoun can keep up. Let's go. Reaper Hellion trading with the pylon, going for the sentry. And the sentry is going to go down. Takes a lot of hits. Jesus. Takes a lot of hits, but does fall. At least GuMiho gets something for his trouble, something for his army. At the same time, Widowmine into the main, but Zoun, he is paying attention. Does pull away in time. And shouldn't lose too much here. Oh god. Okay. Blink is done. Does avoid the shots. A very clean defense here by Zoun. He shuts down the Reaper Hellion. He shuts down the Widowmines. I believe there is still one Widowmine in the medevac, so GuMiho still has potential for some damage, but has been having a bit of a harder time here. So far, Zoun is in a better position. With this, Zoun taking up. Charge on the way. Forge for upgrades. Gateway Explosion. And GuMiho is stuck at home until Stim finishes. Once the upgrades do complete, GuMiho can move out and expand. Assuming he wants to expand, we'll see if he throws down extra Raxes or a third CC. So our eyes are on GuMiho to see if he does commit into more production or into his economy. Bay is on the way for Zoun. Now this Bay has been delayed from Zoun. It's a bit of a later Robotics Bay. We'll see if we can get away with it. See if he can get away. As the Bay is about to finish, here comes GuMiho's move out. Now GuMiho is not going for a 2-base all-in. Third CC is in production in the main. So it looks like this move out is just to expand, just to fortify himself and maintain control of the map. Forcing back down. First Colossus is in production. And GuMiho again is just posturing. It's only posturing here. I don't think he really has any intention of pushing in towards the third base or towards the natural. As GuMiho pulls away. Just puffing up his chest while he tries to expand. And we're working towards the mid game. Let's go. Similarly to the previous game, we're headed towards a longer game stage into a 3-base economy, which means that we should soon be seeing a 4th base from Zoun once he's secure. And once again, 2 games in a row, Zoun can actually get comfortable. He can actually embrace his PvT and what he does best. As GuMiho is landing his 3rd base, Zoun is getting his 4th. As again, the Protoss typically wants to be up in expansion. So you want to be up a base. If a Terran's ever up a base, then you know something's wrong. Then you then things are dire. But for now, we're building up. I believe that's the 2nd, if not 3rd Colossus on the way for Zoun. Soon going to be embracing a 2nd Robo into Disruptors. Now, something that we should emphasize here that I stand by, as we mentioned coming into Frostline, is how exposed these bases are and how difficult it is to hold on to a 4th. What I'm referring to here is that if you look at the base locations, the 3rd base and the 4th base are very isolated from each other. They're very spread out. So if you are failing to keep up with the army movements, if you don't see the army rotations of your opponent, then the aggressing player can sneak up on your 3rd or 4th base and knock it down. So it's all about map vision and map control. Zoun needs to keep eyes on GuMiho's army. I mean, vice versa. As Zoun is being active. The Observer does follow the tanks. We have a Zealot run right towards the left-hand side. Zoun getting in position on the right. How the Observer gets spotted. Zoun pulls away. And he's hoping with that Zealot run by as Zoun doesn't have eyes on the army, but alas, the Zealots, they are deflected. GuMiho keeps up. Behind this, there's a second Robo and the first Disruptor. Both armies are maxing out. And they are about to clash. Scan reveals the army. GuMiho getting his 4th CC. Got a very tense movement. Zoun expanding towards his opponent. Taking bottom right. GuMiho setting up for a surround. Uh-oh. He does have a flanking army. He scans. Zoun, he doesn't push in, thankfully. If he had, he would have been exposed to that surround. Would have been vulnerable. GuMiho going for a counterattack instead. He hasn't seen the expansion of Zoun, but he's about to come across it. And again, this space is very exposed. Actually, GuMiho, he doesn't commit. Turns back. Does turn back around, runs into the Zealots. Cleans them up. Once again, both armies are posturing. Sandy reinforces. GuMiho setting up for a flank. Actually bringing his army together. Shuts down the Observer. GuMiho in position. And can GuMiho expand? We are at 200 supply. Oh, tank boy's going off. The tanker exposed. And both tanks are going to go down. Massive catch here from Zoun. GuMiho, he was out of position. Yeah, half his army was out, just out towards the left-hand side. Nova goes off. Nova doesn't quite connect. First Colossus goes down. Second one as well under fire. But reinforcements, they have arrived. And Zoun, he's so close to breaking GuMiho here and now. And it looks like he barely is. Takes down the bio, gets on top of the Marauders. Winning another wave of Zealots. And it's coming. Oh, Zealots are distracted. Distracted by the CC. But again, a much more efficient trade here from Zoun. Did shut down the army. Again, it was so unfortunate that GuMiho happened to be moving out as the army pushed in. As GuMiho was pushing towards the north side. Towards the top side instead. Never goes off. Massive connection. And Zoun is done. He's broken the back of GuMiho. GG gets called, and Zoun ties up the series. We are going to the ace match. Whew. GG. And again, Zoun, just get him into the mid game. just get him into the mid game, Papi. That's all he needs. That's what he was denied in the first 2 games. And with that, we're going all the way to game 5. Just give this man a 3-base economy. Just or even a 4th base economy, to be fair. As he was able to catch GuMiho out of position and was able to abuse him in that one moment and snowball out of control. And with that, we make our way into game 5. We're going to be loading into Whispers of Gold. We have a game 5 coming up ahead of us. Now, what I should emphasize here about Whispers of Gold, I was talking about how on Frostline it is so imperative that you keep up with the army movements of your opponents to keep up with their rotations. Here on Whispers of Gold, it's a little bit different. This is the most aggressive map in the map pool. Very exposed bases here, very short rush distance by ground. That's the difference here. It's, in a way, kind of similar to Frostline, but a much smaller map. Much smaller map. Shorter rush distance across the map as well. Takes so much less time to actually move out to reinforce. And we have seen a lot of successful all-ins on Whispers of Gold. Now, based on GuMiho's playstyle so far, and based on how he was able to get momentum in Game 1 and Game 2, I feel like we expect something more aggressive this time in the Ace match. Likewise, though, I'm sure Zoun expects that as well. I wouldn't be surprised if Zoun opens up with a Robo, for example, like a Robo opener, or like 3-gate Blink into a delayed 3rd base as well, maybe even Robo before the 3rd. In general, I feel like we expect either more aggressive openers or just very safe openers here from Zoun. We'll see. We shall see as we're getting into the Ace match. And in the top left-hand corner, we have the Korean Protoss player, Zoun. And in the bottom right, we have his opponent, we have GuMiho, the Korean Terran. Here we go. It all ends here. It all ends on Whispers of Gold. Spam this town to help out Zoun. Oh, no. He's got the town. He's got the town. He is a clown. Aye. Nah, not at all, not at all. We're here, we're getting into the ace match. I'm ready for it. And GuMiho opening up double gas. So double gas opened out of GuMiho. Now we saw in the previous game, I mean, we spoke about how like, oh, you know, Zoun, he was able to snowball out of control in the mid game. He was able to look strong there with a solid economy. But part of that was also the fact, if you remember, that GuMiho did go for a very aggressive opener and it did not pay for itself. I'm referring to the commitment into Reaper Hellion and the Widowmine drop as well. And what did it really get? It got maybe one probe, if that. If you recall, I mean, not even a probe going down to the Widowmine drop. So it was a very rough start for GuMiho, as Zoun was able to comfortably get into his 3-base economy, then leading into the mid game, of course. So there's a reason why Zoun got as comfortable as he did in the previous game, and we'll see what this double gas opener leads into this time. Again, last game, this double gas led into Reaper Hellion into Mind Drop. This time, we could be seeing, once again, Reaper Hellion. We could be seeing a more committed Widowmine drop into 4 Widowmines instead of 2. We could be seeing Banshees, early tank production. We were giving praise to GuMiho earlier this series. Game 1 and Game 2 was all based off of these early tank pushes. We have not seen one in quite some time, though. Is this the time to fall back on early tank production? Or do we go for something different? As a factory is on the way. GuMiho moving out with that first Reaper. Gets eyes on the setup. GuMiho is expanding on location, so no crazy one base all in. Is throwing down the CC. Followed by the 1-1-1. Okay, there's going to be Reaper into Reactor. With this, we're not quite set up for an add-on swap. There we go. It's straight into the tech lab here on the factory. 0 Hellions. So this time, 0 Hellion production, 0 Reaper production. Marines are on the way, so GuMiho is preserving his gas, which means this should be one of two things. Either early tank or add-on swap into Banshee play. What's it going to be? Oh, this I was not expecting. Hello. It's a bit of a fake out. The hallucination does get eyes on the tech lab, but it's going to be a mind drop instead. Okay, GuMiho, you have my attention. Now, I think it's only going to be one Widowmine, right? The Widowmine is revealed. Yeah, Widowmine is a Cyclone. So it's going to be very light commitment into the drop across the map. And what's important here is that Zoun did spot the Widowmine. He did see it, is aware of it. Here comes the drop across the map. Zoun moving up with another hallucination. He will miss the medevac, but he should confirm that the Widowmine is nowhere to be found at home. He should notice that the army is missing. The medevac is missing as well. Zoun, he's maneuvering over into the main, so good read here out of Zoun. He knows he's ready. Yeah, he is in position. GuMiho is deflected. And so far, a much stronger start for the Protoss. Now, thankfully, GuMiho doesn't lose anything. Sure, the drop didn't get any damage, but he saves the medevac, he saves the units, he can fall back, consolidate his army, and come in for some more value. As Zoun, oh no! As Zoun, he almost catches the medevac. GuMiho, get out of here. Does boost away. Whew. Does save his units. That could have been disastrous. That could have been brutal. Meanwhile, Zoun, he is going for the Robo before the third base, so a very safe play here out of Zoun. Did delay his third. With that, Robo can get into early Immortal production. Stim is on the way for GuMiho. And he's embracing his tanks this time. As a reminder, last game he didn't make a single tank, but the tanks are building up. And he should be working towards the Stim timing. Meanwhile, Zoun pokes in, keeping tabs on his opponents, ideally keeping GuMiho contained. Gets a volley up on the medevac. Meanwhile, GuMiho does move out, will be able to harass, goes to the mineral line. The Raven taking a lot of hits. Oh my god, the Raven will barely survive. Just barely. Gets 2 probe kills. Raven in a rough position, one more shot, it does go down. Even Zoun catching the Widow Mine. Meanwhile, GuMiho with the Unsiege. He's looking to move out. Oh, he spots the Observer. He sees. Does scan. Gets a lock on. He will shut it down. Massive pickoff. Zoun has that much less information. You see Zoun reinforcing. Immortal is on the way. And GuMiho doesn't push. He throws down a third CC on location, and Zoun doesn't know. Zoun trying to poke in. He is denied. He is denied the scouts. If Zoun was aware of the third CC, he could be throwing down his own Bay, taking gases, working towards Colossus. Even throwing down extra gateways even. The Bay thankfully is on the way. Does need it. Likewise, GuMiho expanding should also be the sign for Zoun to expand as well. And I believe Zoun is piecing it all together. Yeah, now he knows. Does spot the command center, he knows what's going on. Working towards his Colossus. Zealot Runway is set up as well. And Zoun should soon be expanding. Yep, speaking of, there it is. Fourth base is on the way. Again, as GuMiho takes a third, Zoun he needs to get his fourth. So he is building up. And once again, we can embrace the mid game. Let's go. No early game aggression. No early move outs. I mean, we had GuMiho attempting the drop, but he was deflected. Likewise, the Raven didn't get much done either. And once again, I am going to be favoring Zoun here in this kind of game state. We'll see if GuMiho can pop off. But now still just building up his army. Trying to use nice scouting. Sounds the king of clowns in town. Oh no. Oh no. Not like this. Forcing friendly fire. Four CC on the way for GuMiho. This tells us that he intends to just get into a longer game state and max out. Zoun is going to be patrolling though. Second Robo is on the way. This should be for disruptors. Now Zoun should not be pushing into the third. There's no reason to. His goal here should just be to contain. To contain the Terran. Or capitalize on some opportunities. The tanks are out of position. Oh, mine's just going off. Decent trade. There it is. Zoun now getting a fifth. Fifth base, second Robo, double forge, double upgrades. Zoun should be free to tech up in such a way. Likewise, GuMiho going for a second starport into +1 air attack. Into Mass Viking. Ghost production has begun. But again, Zoun is in control. He is still just containing his opponent. Zoun is the first to max out. And upon maxing out, it should be on Zoun to start to trade. And again, the goal shouldn't be to break any kind of position here, but to maybe invest into some run buys, into some drop play. Delaying the fourth, of course. So those rotate. GuMiho repositioning his tanks. Attempting to expand. Tanks do siege. Trading out stalkers. Some rough trades here from Zoun. Expensive losses. Ghost moving in for the EMP. Oh, does connect. And GuMiho expands. The fourth base is getting up. Zoun, he rotates. GuMiho is trying to keep up. So far, so good. GuMiho is maintaining himself. Zoun does have a solid run by set up. Pushing in, both armies are maxed. Nova goes off, up! Grazes the army, takes down a couple of Marines. A couple of Marines do go down. Zoun now getting a 6th expansion. Embracing more upgrades. But this could still go either way. A lot of this will come down to the positioning, will come down to the engagement. As GuMiho, he is securing himself on 4 bases. Fully walls up. Is that a doggo? Haven't noticed that critter there before. Meanwhile, Zanny goes to the dive. Yeah, the tanks are exposed. He gets one. Ooh, barely nuts. Somehow the tank does live. Again, you can see Zoun just banking up almost 3,000 minerals. Ideally, he does want to trade. So the run right towards the 3rd. But doesn't quite break through. Doesn't break through the defenses. So far, solid defense here by GuMiho. Is out trading Zoun. And Zoun is thinking about Sky Toss. Fleet beacons on the way. Into +1 air attack, I would imagine. Now pushing in. Does take an EMP to the face. Never goes off. Ooh, no connection. Hot pickup. The micro. GuMiho pulls back in time. Decent concave, but the tanks are not quite in position. Nova gets a ghost. Ghost does fall. And again, this is what Zoun wants. He wants to trade in such a manner as Zoun is instantly remaxing. And GuMiho is burning through his bank. Planetary is up. And Zoun should attempt to knock it down. Novas are going to zone away. And Planetary falls. Nice pickup. Zoun can keep pushing in. Going for the mineral line. Liberators have arrived. We have some freedom, but not too much. And just 2 libs. Deeper wall is falling. Zoun is gaining ground, just zoning back the army. GuMiho can't quite engage. How is out of Novas? Oh, Nova goes up. Doesn't connect. Massive pickup. The disruptors are exposed. All 4 of them go down. And Zoun is forced back. Very nice fight there by GuMiho. Resets the disruptor count. And without disruptors, Zoun, I don't know if he can really push into this. It goes for the dive, blinks in. Colossus are going down. Ooh, and Zoun, he plummets in supply. That was not it. Yeah, pushing into a concave, pushing into Liberators without any disruptors. That was a brutal fight for Zoun. And GuMiho holds. Zoun is burning through his bank. And again, just much more efficient fights from the Terran. And Zoun just overextending. Again, Zoun's army is just so much weaker now. He only has 2 disruptors. He can't really engage. Does keep trying to. Nice kiting here by GuMiho. Nova gets 1 Marauder. 5th base is now being taken. You could argue that Zoun, he got too impatient. Too impatient previously. I mean, the specific moment was him losing the disruptors. Like, losing all 4 disruptors was brutal. Now he's built back up. Tempests have arrived. He's got his Tempest. With that, he has an answer to these Liberators. There he goes off. Good connection. First lib goes down. GuMiho getting ready for a surround. He blinks in. Oh, that was crazy. Does blink in. The Nova, massive connection. Nova's going to be going up. That was a very tense moment. Zoun, he doesn't trade too badly. Likewise, Nova going to be going off once again, collapsing on the Marauders. Most of the Bio army does fall. Zoun having a much better trade this time. The Novas have been on point. And the Bio army, it's barely there. It's mainly Liberators at this point. I'll pick up. Save some Marauders. Stalkers with the slow warp in. Or with the warp in. We'll shut this down. Again, that bank the town once had isn't quite there anymore. It's just building up those Tempest. Zoun's probe count is actually quite low, which is concerning. He's only got 65 workers. That's 3 base saturation. He could do with more probes. The Tempest are making off of that. DTs into the mineral lines. Distracting GuMiho. As the DTs are still wreaking havoc. Forcing out more scans. GuMiho getting torn apart, and the Tempest count is getting high. It's getting quite high here. Novas once again, they don't quite connect. But the Tempest are getting free damage. Picking off tanks, Liberators, Marines, whatever they can. GuMiho stems in, massive EMP. EMP on the Tempest, but alas he pulls away. Zoun still maintains himself. And there's just not enough Terran here. GuMiho once again going for Lib Harass. Does peel off a couple of Liberators. Likewise, DT's waddling in. I mean, it's still on a knife's edge. As this army is still quite fragile for Zoun. And speaking of Zoun, he barely has a gateway army to support. One wrong move and Zoun will lose everything. Meanwhile, 11 SCVs go down. The DCs are just popping off. Zoun, he may be down in work. He may have a low worker count, but I mean, GuMiho even lower. That's 12 SCVs falling. DTs are still active. Oh, that blink. Just gonna be distracting GuMiho. As GuMiho is landing his 5th base. Getting it up and running. Zoun, can he deny it? He's pushing in. Nova's gonna be going off. Ooh, massive connections. Finally, the connections that Zoun was looking for. Okay, shuts down the fire, the Marines, the Marauders. I don't think there are any ghosts left. And Zoun, he's done it. Yeah, at this point, he has finally done it. He's broken the back here of GuMiho. Disruptors, they are denied. But it may not matter. Zelse coming from behind. Another Disruptor goes down. Good trades here to GuMiho. He does shut down 4 Disruptors. And another once again. Takes down the Disruptors, but alas, still too many losses for GuMiho. The Tempest is still standing strong. And GuMiho has just been outscaled. Just been outscaled over time. That's what, 7 Tempests for Zoun. And GuMiho just gives up the base. He cannot save it. Expansion's gonna fall. Zoun finally making probes. Realized he could do with some more workers. Probes are on the way. Still just focusing on Disruptor production. Denies the expansion. GuMiho floating towards the left-hand side. Another base going to be falling. And GuMiho is on his last legs. He just cannot engage. Not against this army. Yo, Shatters the Thriving GG. Hope you had a good stream. Hope you had a good ladder session. Welcome one and all to Massive Coliseum. Welcome to the final game of the final series of the night. And we're honestly towards the tail end of the game as well. It went all the way to the ace match, but alas, GuMiho does go for a counterattack. Let's go. We'll bring down the base. Does he force a recall? That's what he's hoping for. He's hoping for a recall. Trying to buy some time. But Zoun, he's maxed out. Jesus, has a terrifying army. The Tempest have just been gaining so much value over time. And just bullying GuMiho. GuMiho down to 0 Vikings, 0 Liberators, 0 Ghosts. Just purely Marine Marauder, a very cheap army. It's all that GuMiho can afford, as he's making 10 Marines at a time. And Zani just rotates. He rotates. You're going for the fringe bases. As he has so many Novas available. When they connect, Novas, they pop up. Decent collapse here from GuMiho, coming in from multiple angles. But there's just so much Protoss. They'll say collapse on the army. And again, there's nothing else behind this. There's no Widowmines, no tanks. Just Marine and Marauder. And a dream, Pappy. Can he hold on? He can. For at least a little bit longer. As yeah, GuMiho hands off the keyboard. He knows it is looking bleak. GG gets called, and Zoun, he will take the series 3-2, advancing on to the next round and eliminating GuMiho from the tournament. GG. Whew. GG, well played. It went the distance, went all the way to the ace match, but congratulations, Zoun will advance on. And it was a rough start for Zoun. GuMiho, he was up 2-0. He was up 2-0 in this best of 5. A very strong start for GuMiho with these more aggressive builds. If you remember, he was going for these early tank pushes and 2 base all-ins, early tank aggression, even off of 1 base as well. But alas, Game 3, Game 4, Game 5, GuMiho, he slowed things down a little bit, went for some more standard openers instead, went for more mid-game play, and that is where Zoun thrived. Zoun, who was able to thrive there with a stronger economy, with a stronger army, of course, or with an army, I should say, as opposed to the first 2 games, and he had a more back and forth, was able to bring it all the way back to the ace match, and did take it in the end. GG. GG, well played, congratulations, Zoun does advance on. My condolences to GuMiho as he is out of the tournament. Again, I would say that he was favored coming into this series, and he came so close as well. But did end up falling. And congratulations. Congratulations to Zoun. Congratulations to Astrea, as both Zoun and Astrea do make it into the next round. And with that, I believe we're about to get an updated bracket to find out what happens next week and what matches are ahead of us. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it here. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys don't want to wait for the graphic. One moment as we have a look at it ourselves. Un momento. Okay, so next week we have our matches. It is going to be Hero versus Rainer. Oh boy, it's going to be a PvZ. I look forward to it. Hero versus Rainer is always a banger. Hero typically is favored against Rainer. He has a winning record against him, but it's always entertaining matches. Always very entertaining matches between Hero and Rainer. Likewise, we have Cyril versus MaxPax as well. The ZVPs, they continue here next week. I say next week in 4 days' time. In 4 days, we have day number 4 of Masters Coliseum playoffs. So Hero versus Rainer and Cyril versus MaxPax is just going to be 2 matches. The day after that is going to be the loser of those respective matches up against Astrea and Zoun. Do you have those losers matches? So that is what's coming up next week. Or again, in like 5 days. In like 5 days' time. And again, we are soon to be getting that updated graphic. Meanwhile, I believe with Spirit and GuMiho both being eliminated, there are 0 Terrans in the tournament. It's like the opposite of Home Story Cup, where Home Story Cup, it was nothing but TBTs. Here, I guess Clem did represent Protoss at Home Story Cup. But here at Masters Coliseum, the Terrans, they did go down early on. I mean, there is a world out there where, you know, Clem, he makes it through the group stage. If you missed out on it, I do recommend the VODs. Clem, he did not make it through the group stage because of a technicality. So it was a rough group stage there for Clem. Otherwise, he should have made it through. Likewise, Oliveira did retire. So I would have said that Oliveira would have been a sure thing to make it through the group stage as well. Alas, not quite the case, as he did step away. Likewise, Maru, we had some crazy upsets, and Maru did fail to make it through the group stage as well. And with that, we have a sea of Protoss and Zerg instead. Whew. Which again, after Home Story Cup is refreshing. It's it is refreshing, Pappy. It is refreshing. Post Home Story Cup. Likewise, of course, this week we have not just Masters Coliseum, but we have the Lily Cup as well. We'll be getting into the remainder of those groups, as we're still in the group stage of Lily Cup, where again all the top players are competing. Or these very same players, I should say. As again, January has been quite busy. There it is. There is the brackets. Oh, let's quickly go over it. Let us quickly catch up. Yeah, as you can see here, we have Hero and Raynor going to be featured in day number 4. Likewise, Max, and Cyril as well. You can see day 5 going to be featuring the lower bracket, the lower matches, and day 6 is going to be the following rounds as well. There it is. The ZVPs are ahead of us. Hero versus Raynor, Max versus Cyril. I do look forward to it. Do look forward to those matches. And again, they are going to be best of 5s. Let's go. Retired from the tournament, retired from StarCraft. Retired from StarCraft. Retired from StarCraft. So it is going to be huge. And again, it is going to be in a couple of days. Let's go. Looks like Zoun found his inner hounds. I mean, as we mentioned, like a lot of it came down to GuMiho backing off when it comes to his aggressive builds. Like GuMiho, he stopped being aggressive and he allowed Zoun to get into his games. But here we go with that. We do thank you for tuning in tonight. Hope you all had a great time in Coliseum. We're going to be back tomorrow with some OOC Challenger bracket and the Wardy TV Monday. Wardy TV Monday is also tomorrow as well. So 2 events every single day for almost the entirety of January. So do look forward to it. With that, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys tomorrow for some more StarCraft. See you then.
恭喜小 Hero， 谁还记得？
姐姐，东行在4比3，飞龙在天。
哎，算了，恭喜他夺冠吧。
一把，我靠！
打不过啊，他最后这手感染虫太凶了。最近半年 ，ZVP 56-3给自己点一个赞，冠军。
I don't think Cyril has any chance to save this one, but he continues.
It gets killed coming back, and Bunny just doesn't seem to have the numbers.
Didn't even notice the Liberator in the main base, I think. So many probes are going down right now.
Oh my god, they're trying to get back, but they can't, and so many are picked up. A big clump here from Curie. Tries to split everything up.
Giant force of Fadelings rolling in and clearing the hell. That's massive. Clum!
Hero is once again.
Raider has done it.
Cyril did it all, and he is a well-deserving champion.